Hey sheepdogs, Chap here. As promised, we're going to start into Jimmy Bremner's book, A Crack in the Armor. This is a must read for anybody that's in emergency services. Fire, police, EMTs, military. If nothing else, it's a great source of information for you. It may open your eyes to some things. The interesting part about this book is tonight my video is going to be a little bit long, and I'm sorry, but it's just important, and I have to be I have to obey the Spirit and how the Spirit leads me. So if you have to put it on pause a little bit, whatever. I'm sorry, but this is important. Tonight, we didn't even get out of the introduction part, okay, of the book. So, like I said, it's a must read. What Jimmy does is he chronicles his fall from grace as an elite team leader and a member of Canada's largest tactical team to alcohol abuse, living on the streets, and attempting to commit suicide. Police, fire, EMS, military personnel are 5 times more likely to take their own lives. I can't stress to you, this has got to stop. This is crazy. For the 3rd year in a row, we've lost more police, fire, EMS, and military people by our own hand, guys, than we have to enemy action or violent combat street engagements or car wrecks or even health-related issues. I want to stop right now, and I want you to understand something. I want you to write this down on a sticky note, and I want you to stick it on the rearview mirror of your car. I want you to stick it on your computer, wherever. The devil is a liar. Okay, you understand what I'm telling you? He will lie to you. He will tell you that you've gone past the point of hope, that you can't get back, that you this, that you that. Spit in his eye spiritually. Take authority over him and remember that he's a liar. Jimmy shows that the road to recovery starts at the bottom for most of us. It started that way with me. Okay, I was rock bottom. The great place about being at rock bottom, you've got a good solid foundation to fight from. So you either get better or you die. Okay, let me just be very clear about something. Death is not an option. You spend your entire career training to survive. You teach your people to survive. I've been to the point, short of divine intervention, that I was at that point. I was going to be one of those 23 a day. Let me explain something to you. Okay, here's where it gets gooder and gooder. Okay, God has a plan for your life. Romans 8:28 says he makes all things work together for the good that love God and are called according to his purpose. That's good, the bad, and the ugly, okay? Not everything in your life is going to be good. You know, if you're going to remodel your house, what do? You tear out everything, okay? It's a pain to do, right? You've got expense. You've got to find people to do it. It has to be done right, all right? You being remodeled is no different, except you're being remodeled by a master carpenter, and his name is Jesus. Jerry Vine says that we don't really have a choice about when we're born, and we don't. But what you do have a choice is where you spend eternity, and I can prove that to you. There'll never come a time when you will not be. From now on, you're going to be somewhere. You're either going to be in this life, all right, or you're going to die, and you're either going to go to heaven or you're going to go to hell. But that's where you're going to be, in heaven or hell, for all of eternity. So I remember when we were in Atlanta My daughter was at a cheer competition there, and she was having the time of her life, and I was freaking miserable. I was having a horrible, horrible weekend. And even as a police chaplain, I knew that God had me. I knew that He had me. But yet, my suffering was so intense. And it wasn't until later on that He revealed to me, He impressed it on my spirit. I had to give it to you rough, because this is what I've called you to do, okay? So you can't do any good. I'm paraphrasing, all right? You can't do me any good unless you know what they're going through. Okay, so let's get back to Jimmy. Jimmy joined the police service in Toronto at age 26 in 1989. After 3 years, he was one of the few selected for the tactical team. We call it SRT where I work. Some call it SWAT. Jimmy tells his story in the book in hopes of letting law enforcement officers who have PTSD, think they have PTSD, feel like they might have PTSD, know somebody with PTSD. He lets you know that there is no shame in asking for help for that you're not being weak. There's no weakness in reaching out. Okay? My son does some metal work. You guys ever seen a beam that's been welded? It's cracked, or I love cast iron cooking. Y'all hear me? Come here, chap. Do some cooking. All right. I'll show you belly later on. Listen, I had a cast iron, my favorite one. I'm making eggs the other morning over a campfire. I hear something sizzling, and I look down, and my pan was cracked, dude. So I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. So I got a guy, he can fix it for me, right? So whatever else happens to this pan, all right, it will never leak where he fixes it again, because it's that strong of a bind. So with that said, Jimmy said that he was in a fight for his life, and you are. Sometimes it's day by day. Sometimes it's hour by hour, and sometimes it's minute by minute. You do not have to do this alone. You cannot do this alone. Jimmy entered law enforcement after he got married. He needed a way to support his family. And he's like us. He said he didn't like seeing people get pushed around. And he liked the idea of protecting people that couldn't protect themselves. Does that sound familiar to you? So Jimmy also realized that he like us, he's highly motivated. All right. I mean, I don't know about you, those of you that serve on a tactical team, when your phone rings or you get that email that says you're now on standby and you start grabbing your gear, you're doing an equipment check. You just done an equipment check, but you're doing another one, all right? Because you get all fired up and you're ready to roll, right? So Jimmy realized that he was dealing with the worst of society, 1% worst of society, 100% of the time, and it began to cloud his judgment. Does that sound familiar? Don't look at me like that. You know I'm right. Hey, chap's been there, I know. So Jimmy started seeing everybody as a potential threat. Now that's not, I'm sure what he's saying there, it's not an officer safety point of view where in North Carolina, when they passed the concealed carry for citizens, there was a police officer that said, well, now I got to treat everybody like they may be carrying a gun. You don't already? You know what I'm saying? So let me explain to you. We are fact-driven people, all right? We rationalize things. That's what we do for a living. We analyze, we rationalize. We get a call for service. We're trying to figure out the best approach to make. Are we going in dark? Are we going in hot? Are we going in everybody and their brother? I mean, you're constantly planning. You're evaluating. You're even evaluating your own actions. when you hit a target, when it's over with. Something will pop in your mind, and it won't be something that you did good. It'll be something that you feel like you didn't do as well as you probably should have. Okay, so at debriefing, you're sitting there saying, well, boss, I didn't do this, or I think I should have done this better, or we should have done this better. We didn't do this, we didn't do that. Why? Because we learn from our failures. All right, I have successes, sure. But think about when you were a young officer and you're going to court and you're testifying, okay? The attorney knows that you're new. What's he going to do? Okay? He's going to try to trip you up. He's going to try to make you unsure, okay? So as you grow in experience and they look down and they see your name on the arrest report, they start looking for another way to deal with the case rather than put you on the stand because they know you wired tight and you're going to win your case. But you cannot rationalize God. Everybody, you understand? Everybody shake your head. You can't rationalize God. Here's why. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says that we're to trust in the Lord with all our hearts. That's not part of your heart. That's not this little piece of heart over here. If you and I are going in a Target building and you're in front and I'm covering your six and we dump into a room, are you going to look back and make sure I'm still there? No, because you know I'm there. You know I'm going to be there. If you hear something loud behind you, are you going to turn and look? No, because you know you got brothers behind you that whatever that is, they're going to address. They're going to deal with it, okay? God wants you to give him everything. He's not asking for much. All he wants is you, okay? So trust in the Lord with your own heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. Here's how I operate. I got land behind my property I'm trying to sell. Y'all hear me? I've reduced the price on it, reduced the price on it, reduced the price on it. Land all the way around it sold. They're getting ready to build this huge, big development all the way around my little 2 acres of land. It's sitting back there and ain't nobody even nibbled on it yet. Okay, God's got a plan. Would I like it to sell? Sure, I want it to sell. But it's going to sell on his time, and he's going to get me the best price for the land. I know that, so I ain't sweating it. I don't sit around and try to figure out how he's going to do it. I don't care how he's going to do it. I want him to see that I know he's in charge. I know that he's in complete control. When I was going through treatment and all this and other, people would come up to me and say, well, God's in control. And I would sit there with my little Christian face and go, I know. God's so good. Oh, yeah. And he is so good, all right? He's so freaking awesome. But I was caught between trying to deal with this on my own to the point that I was shutting him out. Now, I can prove to you why you're going to get better. Okay? God promises in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have made for you, declares the Lord. Plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. That's not, I hope it's going to rain. That's not, I hope my favorite football team's going to win. It's a hope that's founded in the crucifixion and resurrection of the Lord Jesus. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? That's as solid as it gets. God leads us in a way that inspires us to move forward. I'll use guys on my team for an example, okay? I'm not going to call their names because I haven't asked their permission to do that. But my team commander, my team leader, and my assistant team leader, they switched on. You understand what I'm talking about? They running and gunning. You know what I'm saying? They're tactical minded men. Okay, so when we're hitting a target training and he pulls me off to the side and say, hey, next time, chap, when you dump into this room, I want you to do this. I want you to do that. Hey, when you board that bus, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I'm not going to sit there and go, well, you know, boss, I kind of see where you're coming from there, but Because if I was him and I had a guy respond to me that way, he wouldn't do it again. I'd eat his hind end out and put him on a bench. Okay, God's the same way. Okay, He will not show you the full journey. Do you know why He won't show you the full journey? Because you're just like me. You're going to go, oh, that don't look like no fun at all. I'm going this direction. And then you miss Him. All right, let's get back to the book. Jimmy made team leader in 18 months of going on to the team. That speaks to his ability as an operator. Over the next 16 years on the team, he served as a field training officer, he was an EOD, and he was an acting sergeant. He responded to over 1,000 calls for service. Now think about that for a minute. Think about getting spun up over 1,000 times for an SRT op. Sounds like fun, don't it? Well, after a while, Jimmy said that he couldn't stand to be mediocre, and neither could his teammates. Why are we that way? Why are sheepdogs like that? You don't have to be SRT to be that way. I know firefighters. I know EMTs. I know military people. Being mediocre is not an option for them. Jimmy said that he was told that a hummingbird's metabolism is so fast that it sees the world in slow motion, and he said that's how he felt. But he found himself drinking when he was at home, when he didn't have anything else to do. And he also says that when he started in police work 10 years ago, he didn't drink at all, and all of a sudden he was proficient at it. Have a hobby. Have a hobby. Me, I'm an outdoorsman. Bushcrafter stuff. I love it. Go on YouTube. There's a guy on there. It's called Corporal's Corner. He's a Marine. He's got one of the best YouTube channels I've ever seen. He's direct. He tells you what you need to know. He puts things into operation for you. He's a warrior. Okay? Corporal's Corner. You need to go there and find it. Another guy, it's Fun in the Woods with Dave Pearson. I don't know what David's background is, but I know that he builds good hooches and stuff in emergency situations. He'll teach you how to do that. He's got a really pleasant disposition. The other thing I'll tell you is Northeast Cape Fear German Shepherds. And I'll give you the phone number, 910-340-1832. That's where I got my dog Freddie. Now, Freddie is a German Shepherd. He had 2 tours in Afghanistan. He was a bomb dog. When Freddie and I met, when Ryan put us together, it was a God thing. THANG. He and I hit it just right off, and he was so I mean, just today I spend so much time with this dog, y'all. I mean, people ask me, what are you going to do if his handler shows up, and I'll look. I don't know. I don't know. If there's a guy out there hurting because he can't find his dog, I know what that dog means to me, but there's got to be more to your life than what you do, okay? I work as a sheepdog. I work as an operator. I work as a police officer. I am a sold-out, blood-bought child of the living God. I'm a police chaplain, and I could lose the team. I could lose the certification. I could lose the sniper tab off my uniform. I could lose it all as long as I don't lose my chaplaincy, because that's what I was called to do. He talks about self-medication, helping him to get through the rough feelings about the outcomes of a number of troubling calls. You've all been there, whether you're a firefighter, EMT, military, whatever, police, you've all had those calls. Jimmy said that he went to a call for service where he had to handcuff a guy, and the guy fought. Well, in training, police get on the ground, he'd handcuff them, they submit, you cuff them up, pick them up, take them back. In the street, he found out these guys would fight, which led to an application of force. And force can't be applied without violence of action. Okay? We all been there, right? You know, we don't want to thump somebody. Well, that's not what we're here to do. Okay? But sometimes people make bad decisions that leave you no other alternative. Now, with that said, I think it's Field Notes, John Chapman, Violence of Action. You need to watch that video. It tells you, it breaks down what violence of action is. Here's the problem. You can't turn it off when you drive home, okay? You can't turn off things that you see, things that you hear, things that you have to do, okay? The answer is not in it's not in a bottle. It's not in a dope bag, all right? It's that when you drink alcohol, alcohol is a depressant. I don't need anything to depress me any more than things I see in the street. Neither do you. All right. Next, it impairs the brain's center and your senses, including alcohol. Taste, smell, sight, and hearing. Now, you're operators. You're sheepdogs. You know what all these senses mean to you, and they can't be dulled. They have to be sharp. You take you swallow a drink. Okay, the alcohol, it's rapidly absorbed in the body, 20% through the stomach, 80% through the small intestines. The problem is you start feeling the first effects of that alcohol within 5 to 10 minutes after drinking. How do I know? I've had a lot of practice. Yeah, chap used to drink. Big deal. Okay. You don't become a warrior by imposing your will on other people or intentionally throwing them a beat down or whatever, okay? The application of force comes as a result of a bad decision on a guy's part that leads to violence sometimes. Sometimes that violence is simply applying as much force as you need to get him under submission and get him cuffed up, and sometimes it requires you to use deadly force. I have a sniper's tab on my uniform. It's not there to impress people. Shooting is 10% of what a sniper does, okay? I'm not proud to be a sniper because I can look through a scope and put a round somewhere. I'm proud to be a sniper because my brothers trust me to cover their advance to a target and their withdrawal from a target. I'm a sniper because I want to get there early. I want to get eyes on. I want to be able to call back to my team the people I see, the cars I see, weaponry. Are there people there that's wanted that I recognize? Are there kids in the house? Are there dogs? Are there this? Are there that? So shooting is it's a very important 10%. Okay, I didn't become a sniper because I want to shoot people. All right. So let's look at some things that's helped me understand why I fought PTSD from 2006 to 2016. Now here's the thing, okay? And we're almost done, guys. Thank you for your patience. We're almost done for today. When my battle with PTSD started, I wasn't a Christian. The problem is I knew something was wrong. I just didn't know what it was, because when I went to people to try to talk to them about things I'd seen or things I'd done, well, son, maybe this is not the job for you. You need to cowboy up. You need to man up. Let me explain something to you, okay? You can't see the things we see and it not have an effect on you. All right? So now that we know that, these are some things that reminded me of how fragile I was. Not because I was weak. Baby, we can go toe to toe. That ain't got nothing to do with nothing. But it's about my spirit and my soul. Affliction humbled me. It reminded me every day that everything I had was a gift. It was a gift from God, and that pride leads to a fall, but God gives grace to the humble. Okay? Afflictions, my affliction positioned me to be more receptive to His grace. For those of you that are Christians, You hear a song on the radio that speaks to your soul, and you're riding down the road and you're singing it. And I always tell my little girl, just because I can't sing don't mean I won't. But when you start singing that song and you start feeling your spirit rise up inside of you, and you feel that it's not emotion, it's much, much more than emotion. It's that joy. And then that leads to worship. That leads to you being able to say, God, I'm not asking you for anything right now. I'm just thanking you for knowing who I am. I'm thanking you for taking me from here to here. Look, I know what I was before I became a Christian. There's nothing I can do about that. There's people I hurt in my lifetime. Some of them I was just selfish and it didn't matter. Some of them it was unintentional. Hurt is hurt, okay? I can't change that. What I can do moving forward is try to be the man that God wants me to be. The second thing I understood was afflictions made me rely on the power of Jesus, because I found, just like Paul. Now listen, Paul was a bad dude back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Paul sat on a pretty high roost, and before he had his Damascus Road experience. But after Saul became Paul, he went through a lot of afflictions. And this is what the Lord told him: my grace is sufficient for you. In other words, my grace is all you need. My power is made perfect in weakness. Come here. You do not have to be all the time, okay? It's okay for you to let your father see that you're beat down, that you're hurting, that you've seen things that you can't unsee, all right? Paul himself said, after he realized this, he said that he was going to boast all the more gladly in his weakness, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Now listen, let me tell you what that is, okay? Let me give you a good old-fashioned. I remember when I first started dating my wife, they had this big thing that they would stand over in the house. And when the heat come on, the heat would just come up out of the floor. And it was really, especially on cold nights. Well, Rita's mom used to hold her blanket over that, right? And get it all hot and toasty warm. And then Rita would jump into bed and her mother would run in there and cover her up with that blanket. And that blanket would envelop her. And all that warmth and that heat would just... that's what happens when his power rests on you. Okay? That's in 2 Corinthians 12:9. And if you'll notice, God didn't remove him from his afflictions. He demonstrated his power through Paul in his affliction. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you remember them dudes? 3 little Hebrew boys. The king told them they were going to bow to his false god. And they said, no, that ain't happening, brother. We ain't doing that. And he said that he's going to throw them in the fiery furnace and had it heated up 7 times hotter. What'd they say? Our God can deliver us, but even if he doesn't, we're not going to bow. They understood that you have something in the Lord that you don't have with anything or anybody else. Affliction brings you the comfort that God blesses you with. Something else is everything I went through, everything my family went through, totally worth it. For me to be able to sit here and look at you in your face and tell you, you're gonna be all right. You're going to bounce back from this. You're going to be stronger than you've ever been. Look at me. I'm back on a team. I'm operating. I'm doing all these things. PTSD used to be like a huge boulder to me, okay? Now it's about this big. It's about that big, okay? Is it always going to be with me? Yeah, it's always going to be with me. Ooh, it never will ride me like it did. It never will affect me like it did. I want to remember just enough of it so I can stay passionate about reaching out to you guys. Affliction gives us compassion for others. Hey, dude, just like you'll lay your life down for a friend, for a brother, okay? I got a buddy of mine, Steve. he had two different types of cancers, man, and God brought him through them both, and it was a long process, all right. But now I can sit down with somebody that has cancer and minister to them as a chaplain, okay? But he can sit down with them and minister to them as somebody that's walked the same path they're walking. We've walked the same path together, okay? So what I guess the thing that it just, my pain, those dark days, those terrible times, it's all worth it. All worth it. Now, my mission is to reach as many people as I possibly can. If I just get to one of you, then it's a success. All right. The other thing I learned is affliction produces endurance and patience. When you go to the gym and you lay down under whatever you bench press, all right, or you're doing curls or military presses or whatever it is that you're doing, okay, and you're going heavy, you're going heavier than you've been, or you're going to run an extra mile, or you're going to do this, or you're going to do that, what happens to your muscles? 3 days later, you can't even wash your hair. You look like a T-Rex running around, right? But as that muscle heals over, now you're stronger. Now you're better. Now you can go that extra mile. Now you can pick it up a little bit. Not all things that we go through in life are good things, okay? But they're all important things. Not only we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, okay? And endurance produces patience. You're in a fight, whether you're just starting or whether you're just getting started. It's not an overnight thing, okay? Be thankful for that, because as you progress, okay, through your treatment, you're going to learn things about yourself that you didn't know. Here's Jimmy spoke of a particular call that he went on where the victim had been stabbed over. We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. Had been stabbed over 50 times when they got there. It was obvious to him that this dude was dead. They breached. They rescued the body, pulled it out of the apartment, turned around and made entry again. Caught the suspect hiding under a bed in the back bedroom. He said that it went into books as a win, but he couldn't get past the fact that he couldn't do anything to save this guy that was already dead. Let me explain something to you, okay? Here's what I learned. Nobody died because I didn't do my job. Nobody died because I got there 30 seconds faster or 30 seconds later than I should have. Nobody died because I didn't do something I should have done. People over my career that died in front of me died because it was their time. You understand what I'm saying? It was their time to leave this world, okay? People talk about it all the time about, oh, he was so young and it was a premature death. I had a lot of survivor's guilt. Why should I live when these other guys that I knew that were just as good as I am at what I do, and they're dead, they're in the ground, their families are hurting. Why should I have survived? Because it wasn't my time. Ecclesiastes 3:2 tells us very clearly there is a time to be born and a time to die. Okay, so you have a born on date and you have a died on date, and you got a dash in the middle. It's what you do with that dash. Okay, I know people that have lost teammates and stuff like that, and ops where they came through it. Okay, and it just kills them that their brothers or their sister didn't make it out, and that's understandable. Warriors die. Even if you do everything right, there is a possibility that somebody could lose their life. When that happens, what do you think, if you're one of the ones that doesn't walk out of the house, we wrap you in a flag and we carry you out of the house, what do you want the members of your team to do with your sacrifice? You don't want them to fall apart. You don't want them to grieve the rest of their life. You want them to remember you for what you were. You want them to carry your memory in their hearts. When you breach, when you this, when you that, okay? But what they want from you more than anything else is for you to live a meaningful life. Take their sacrifice and make it count for something. Could it happen one day that you may be the one that lays your life down? Maybe. Okay? You're prepared to do that. If you weren't, you wouldn't be in the profession that you've in. I want to show you something. This is my mother's Bible. It was given to her in 1942. Do you know what the difference is in this Bible and the one I bought a month ago? Nothing. Every word in this Bible from 1942 is the same word that was in that Bible backward and back and back and back. And that will be in that Bible from now on as long as time stands, as long as God lets this earth exist. Casting Crowns has a song. It's called The Word is Alive. And in that song it says, the Bible was inscribed. That means to write, to engrave, or to print a lasting record over 2,000 years in times of war, in times of peace. It was written by kings, physicians, tax collectors, farmers, singers, and shepherds. The marvel that a library so perfectly cohesive could have been produced by such a diverse crowd over such a period of time staggers the imagination. In the weeks that we have moving forward, we're going to take Jimmy's book and we're going to go through it, okay? I hope what this has done in this video is to whet your appetite, okay? Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell down there, okay? Tell somebody about this. Every Monday, Monday, August the 5th, this video is going to be posted. Every Monday after that will be a video till we get through with this book, and there'll be other videos. But we're also going to look at these scriptures, okay? This is over a period of a year, okay? Why does it work? How do I know it works? Because I've been there. My family's been there, okay? You can't do this alone. You're going to have a counselor. I'm not a trained counselor, okay? I'll pray with you. I'll share my experiences with you, but you're going to have to get with somebody that can help you get in touch with feelings that you're feelings and fears that you have. My things are, if somebody walks up behind me, I'm in a grocery store, and somebody comes up behind me, you're not going to be there long. You're going to move, all right? If somebody yells real loud, a loud sound off to my left or my right, that does it. I mean, there's just certain things that's like a trigger to me. You've got those too. We don't talk about all that, okay? So we're 39 minutes in. I promise I will cut them down shorter, okay? Please like, subscribe, share, reach out to somebody. Tell them, hey, you need to get on here with Chap and check him out. The guy's halfway switched on. He knows what he's doing. Listen, prayer please, the number 8 at gmail.com. Send me an email. Hey, Chap, pray for me on this. We're on Twitter. All right, so find me on Twitter and follow. Don't forget, we're on the Facebook page. Guys, carry your weapons off duty. We've had 2 shootings over this past weekend. Okay, one we lost 20, and I'm not sure on the other. Carry your weapons. When you say you're a sheepdog, that's what we're doing. That's what sheepdogs are all about for situations like that. Please carry extra ammunition. I was on vacation, and I'm not going to tell you where I was at because it doesn't matter. I'm not going to tell you what state I was in because that doesn't matter. It matters that there was a security checkpoint. Okay, big sign, security checkpoint, which gave me a warm fuzzy till I got up to the checkpoint. Okay, the checkpoint was, I need to look through your camera bag. Okay, here. So he looks through my camera bag, hands it back to me. I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. All right, I've got a weapon in a front load holster under my t-shirt and a spare mag. Okay, I tell the security officer I'm carrying a pistol and an extra magazine. They look at me and they say, "Sure you are. Have a nice time." I walk right in. Carry your weapons, okay? And I told my wife and my daughter, this is why I carry everywhere I go. Do I want to use it? No. Am I prepared to use it? You bet you. My prayer for you is this has helped you. My prayer is that you'll reach out to me. My prayer is that you'll be here next Monday night for the next video. This is Chap. If you don't do anything else, please pray for this ministry. Pray for my channel. My subscribers keep going up every day. I got 18. My daughter thinks that's kind of funny. Don't forget the guys, the plugs I gave, the kennel, Ryan. Don't forget the Marine at Corporal's Corner. Don't forget Dave Pearson, Fun in the Woods. Find something to do with your time other than eat, sleep, and dream. You've got to have time for you. All right, so I'm Chap. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you next time.